Officer. We all recognise that equal pay is an important issue. It is important right across the public and private sectors, and it is only recently that the unequal pay in the financial service has been properly highlighted. It is seen as endemic and extremely difficult to eradicate. However, equal pay in local government, it seems to me, is something that we politicians can do something about. Indeed, we are obliged by law to rectify it. The equality duties require that. The Equal Opportunities Committee took some very telling evidence on equal pay in local government in February this year. Our report was passed on to the Local Government Committee and has informed today's report from the Local Government Committee. Now, the Equal Opportunities Committee is taking evidence on equal pay in the NHS, and I would expect the same cross-party reaction to that inquiry. The NHS problem is not such a widespread one and doesn't have the huge costs involved, but from the point of view of the individual worker, the unfairness of equal pay claims not being honoured in a timely fashion can't be overestimated. It is undeniably wrong that people on low wages, and it's particularly women, that they have to wait to have legitimate claims met. It was pointed out to committee members that some workers have actually retired and some have indeed died without their claims being met. In the 21st century, this is totally unacceptable. It's 100 years since women were given the vote on an equal basis with men. It's totally unacceptable that so many are still waiting to be paid on an equal basis. With the discussion of the recession and the arguments about budgets, it is essential too to note that it is those who are poorest paid who will feel the brunt of any drop in income and any cut in services. It is of the utmost importance that every policy, every programme and every service goes through a rigorous equality impact assessment. We must ensure that we protect the lowest paid and the most vulnerable. Equal pay, as we have heard, is a complex area. Case law has changed over the last few years, making any prior agreements subject to these changes. As has been discussed, equal pay seeks to address the historical pay inequality which women have been subjected to. The payments made as the result of the implementation of the new equality-based pay structure, that gap has also to be paid for. I therefore too welcome the action of the Westminster Government to allow councils to use capitalisation to pay for this past inequality, and recognise now that it is only a matter of timing until Scottish councils will also have this opportunity. But of course, questions still remain on the details and in particular, what is the indicative figure that the Cabinet Secretary is discussing with the Treasury? As Audit Scotland have said, this approach is also not without risk. Councils will seek to recoup this borrowing over a period, which will in turn reduce monies available to them in future years, as with any liability. The Scottish Government have said that this will only relate to the back pay element of equal pay claims. Councils will be required by Audit Scotland to say how they will deal with this issue. Best value audits also address equality issues, but I feel that more prominence needs to be given to this area. Equalities can't be seen as a soft option to be dropped when finances are tight. I would welcome further work by the Accounts Commission on gender equality, as it has already done on race equality in local government. There is also the potential for equal pay to be included within the next two-year programme of performance audits for 2011-12. In this whole discussion on equal pay, account must also be given to the impact of single status on equal pay claims, as we have heard, where individuals feel that the new salaries are insufficient. I welcome the review of job evaluation, since it is not just about equal pay for equal work, but also about the types of work which are equal. The average woman in full-time work across the UK will lose out on £360,000 over the course of her working life. The fact that the part-time pay gap remains a shocking 32.1% shows that we also have to maintain a focus on valuing the kinds of jobs that women do. For example, too many of our crucial caring jobs, largely undertaken by part-time female employees, continue to be poorly valued and poorly paid. We have to balance the poverty that this creates, as well as the affordability for the separate councils. Why should a low-pay worker usually a woman, have to organise her budget over a number of years to help out local authority or any other government budgeting. In our evidence sessions, it was indicated that the overall cost to the local government wage bill of single status is 4.7%. This is £11 billion plus of central government funding. As has been said, this issue was missed out from the Concordat with local government. It's extremely important, absolutely essential, that single outcome agreements should highlight the issue of equal pay and equalities more generally. There are more than 30,000 cases, as we've heard, currently waiting in the Scottish tribunal system, many waiting for the full implementation of single status. But I'd like to repeat the findings of the STUC that over £1.6 million was spent by local authorities in legal fees to fight equal pay claims. It would seem that this money could have been spent on agreeing to implement a scheme which had been equality-proofed. I'm of the view that all parties should get together to resolve these cases, in particular where there is no dispute over discrimination but dispute over compensation. In Scotland, we don't have case law relating to equal pay issues, but the cases such as Allen and Bainbridge apply UK-wide, as we've heard. Everyone who submitted evidence to the Opportunities Committee agreed that litigation was not the best way to resolve the equal pay issue, but collective bargaining has broken down in the light of the Allen case. I would urge the Scottish Government to do all it can and prevent further delays in implementation. I commend the report to the Chamber and also the convener's assurance that the Local Government Committee will continue the important task of monitoring. Thank you.